Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Tad Bit More Fit. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch this webinar. Let me go ahead and explain to you right up front how this webinar is going to work. You notice over to your right there is a PowerPoint presentation. And if you're watching this live or while it's still posted up before it goes into the archive, you're going to actually control that PowerPoint presentation. You have right and left arrows. I'll talk you through it. The slides are all numbered, so I will explain to you exactly how it's going and where you're headed, and that way you'll have control. If you want to stop and review it, come back to it later and go through it. Now, if you're watching this later, after this is no longer up on the main page, on the home page, and it's in the archive, just know that as you're watching the recording, you don't have control of that slideshow. It'll automatically advance as I talk through it. And I like to make that clear because otherwise when you're watching the archive and you're trying to control it, you just keep pausing the video and you don't know why that's happening. But right now you're in control, and I know you guys like being in control because you're control freaks. That's why you're here. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, welcome to A Tad Bit More Fit. Tad Bit More Fit, today I titled it The Secret to Burning Calories. First let me just say it fast, because we hear so many things today about burning fat, right? People talk about, this workout, it burns fat, or you got to be at this heart rate for this long before you get into your fat burning zone and everything else. And you're going to find, if you follow my webinars, I'm a little bit controversial to the fitness gurus and the fitness crowd, and because my specialty really has been helping real people, not fitness fanatics and everybody else, but real people who struggle with discipline, who struggle with staying on a diet, who have just never really been able to get it together and get themselves in shape. Maybe they've had periods where they've done okay, but then they don't do okay, and they just aren't able to pull it together. That's what this is about. Because I try to help people understand, although I've been in shape my entire life, it's really the little things, and that's what A Tad Bit More Fit is all about. The little things in life that make a big difference. If you were to really sit down and look at my day and how my life is and the shape that I'm in today at 50 years old, you would notice that I do just little things different than other people. It's not as dramatic as everybody would think. So on this webinar, what I like to do is teach people the little things. And here's what I'll tell you. All the fat burning stuff and everything else you hear about, do you want to burn some fat? Do you really want to know how to seriously burn some serious fat? I'm going to tell you right now, real simple. Go turn your stove on high, put the pan on there, get about 3 pounds of bacon, throw it in there, and leave it on there for about an hour. And you're going to be burning some serious fat. But otherwise, here's what I got to tell you. You're not going to be burning fat. It's not about that. It's about what we're going to teach you about. You don't burn fat. Let's talk about that. But first, let's go to that slideshow. Go ahead and click on the right arrow. Let's go to slide number 2 of 25, and let me formally introduce myself for those of you that are new. My name is Tad Tomaseski, and my wife is Dr. Gina Tomaseski. She's a doctorate of physical medicine and physical therapy. Our life together, we've been married 25 years, by the way, yay for us. And we've always been, even prior to knowing each other, our lives have been committed to health and wellness. But here's what I'll say. It's never come easy for either of us. I'm not some sort of genetically gifted person by any means. As a matter of fact, I tried digging through my photos to pull up one of my photos of me as a kid growing up and prior to my bodybuilding days to give you an idea of what I look like and how genetically gifted I absolutely am not. What I'll tell you is by nature, my nature is very low muscle tone, very high fat, and that continued to progress even with age as I ended up with an autoimmune disease, with hypothyroidism and everything else. I've worked diligently to be in the shape I'm in. But I can't say it's so much about doing intense efforts. It's about being consistent and doing little things. We're going to talk about that today. But my wife, Gina, is a lifelong competitor, too. Long after I retired from competing, my competition every day is against gravity at 50. You all know what I'm talking about, just pushing everything back up, keeping it up. But my competition is with gravity. And my wife, though, is a lifelong competitor. My wife is, after having the kids, became an IFBB pro fitness competitor. And then from that, went and made history in NASCAR as a leader of the first all-female pit crews, you can see on the bottom left. And now she's in competitive rowing. And we're about to go down to Austin to celebrate her 1-year anniversary of her first year of competing. This is the first one she did last year that she got gold in the novice. But this year she won't compete in novice, and you're going to watch her get gold in the open against the best of the best, because she's been doing that all year long. And it's exciting, and I love that about her. But our life has been committed to that. That's what we do. Health and wellness and health and fitness is what we do. That's our life. I want to talk to you today about what we do, because really there's a lot of people that work out a lot harder than my wife and I, a lot harder than us. But if you were to look at their bodies, again, just not saying better, worse, whatever, I'm saying being analytical about body fat, because you hear all this talk about burning fat, whatever else. As hard as they work out and as intense as they work out and everything they do, if that logic stood true, they should be far leaner than us. And what I can say, it's quite the opposite. So the logic of burning fat and thinking somehow if you do all this exercise, that's going to make you leaner, it's a fallacy. And I want to defy that today. I want to break that today as I talk to you about it. And I want to get you thinking right, because if you're ever going to get the right results, if you're ever going to really consistently get results as it relates to your health and wellness, it's got to start with really understanding it and not falling for the lies that are out there, because there are so many lies. Let's go ahead and go to slide number 3. If you didn't see the last webinar, the last webinar is up to now. First of all, in the top right, you can see up there it has my archived webinars. I encourage you to click on those and go back and watch them in order. We're following a systematic approach, and I'm teaching people about this. And this is an equation that I will continually come back to. You're going to say, Tad, haven't you said it enough? No, because this is absolutely what Gina and I live by. And this is how, if you know what you're doing and if you're going to get serious results, this is what you're going to live by. And until you get it ingrained into you and start living by this, you're going to waste a lot of time and energy never really seeing the results you want to see. And it's this simple equation on slide number 3. Calories in minus calories burned equals calories stored. I taught you guys my coin phrase, metabolic junk drawers. That's what your fat cells are. It's just your body storing calories that it can't use. So we have 2 ways to deal with this. Excuse me. We can deal with the calories in by getting less calories in or burning more calories. Go to slide number 4. That's where I talk about this on slide 4. So the answer to this equation, if you want to see better results as it relates to your body fat or your body weight in your life, is you got to get less calories in and more calories burned so that you can have less calories stored. But here's what I'll tell you. Calories burned alone ain't going to do it. You can never burn enough calories. Never, ever, ever. Here's what I'm telling you. To make up for a crappy diet, it just isn't going to happen. And that's where people are delusional. And that's where they get so dissatisfied. Now, we're going to address that today. We're going to talk about it. Let's go to slide number 5, if you would. Because here's what I'll tell you. There is no shortage, as you can see on slide 5, of fast results workouts today. There's no shortage of intense fast results workouts. I talked about this on the last one. I want to go over it again, because the problem is that there's nothing necessarily, well, there is some things wrong with some of these workouts, but the biggest thing wrong is that people are doing them thinking that these are going to get them where they want to be in their body weight, and they're not going to get them there alone. These workouts are not going to do it alone. They're not going to produce the kind of results they see. So really, we don't have a lack of exercises or secret exercises. What we have a lack of is people really understanding the true secret and people being able to stick with the workouts and do it consistently. Let's go to slide number 6, because this is what I decided. I introduced this last time. I decided to make up my own workout that goes right along with intense, fast results. Workout number 1, you got to be out of your flipping mind, which is followed by workout number 2. And what the heck was I thinking? Is the only workout you ever need, because you'll never want to work out again. That's what these workouts do to people. Now listen, there's some people out there, and some of you even watching this might follow some of those workouts you saw on that slideshow, and you're staying with it, and you're consistent. That's great. You're just not the majority. You're a minority of people. The majority aren't. The majority are just beating themselves up, and then they're not seeing results. Let's go to slide number 7, because you always see this in all these fast gain workouts is the 90-day results, right? Well, here's my workout. You got to be out of your flipping mind workout. Look at these results in 90 days. Man, this guy goes from what? From 25% to 10% body fat. Isn't that great? Look at all those calories burned. Here's the only problem is you never see past the 90 days. Go to slide number 8. Here's my continuation past 90 days. There's day 120, 150, continuing down all the way to day 180. Do you see how it's going backwards? Because that's really what ends up happening. Because what ends up happening is he's burnt out. He doesn't have time to keep doing this. He hates doing it because it makes him miserable every time he does it. He wants to throw up. Now by time before he gets to day 180, he's blown out his shoulders. He's blown out his knees. He's blown out his back. He's been taught an all or nothing mentality. That's what people are taught, all or nothing. The only problem is most people don't have the energy and the time to give their all. So what they do is they end up getting nothing on the results side. Here's what I want to talk to you about. Health and wellness needs to not be something that's all time consuming, all energy consuming. It just needs to be something that you just do all the time, just regularly, consistently. And that's what I want to get to today and talk about today. Go to slide number 9. because this is really what I call all these workouts that are out today on slide 9, the yo-yo workout. That's what it is. They're all the yo-yo workout. People just going up and going down and going up and going down. Now they're lean and now they're in shape and now they're not working out. Now they're working out. Now they're in shape. You know, I was in the gym recently, and there's this guy there working out. And I watch him working out. I got to admit, I admire the stuff he does. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm watching Cirque du Soleil in the gym. He's on that pull-up bar, feet going up in the air, going out 90, doing planks midair, holding up stuff. I'm sitting there going, I did that. My shoulders, back, knees, elbows, eyeballs would be blown out. Everything would be blown out of me if I tried doing that crap. And now, granted, and I'm going to talk about physiques and take this as not a judgmental thing or as a definitely not an egotistical thing. I have no ego as it relates to my body. My body is a result of what I do with my life. That's all. But I can look at things and be honest and compare people. What I'll say is I'd have to guess if I looked at him, he's in his late 20s, maybe 30, probably late 20s, and he's not as muscular or as lean as I am at 50. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. But I overhear him as he's doing it, though. I'm impressed with what he's doing. He's in good shape. Don't get me wrong, he's in good shape. But I overhear him talking between sets to someone else, and this guy is so impressed with what he's doing. He's talking about, yeah, I do this and I do that, and I just tell you, I just get shredded. I get shredded when I do this. And he's talking about how shredded he's getting. He's going over there doing all these complex, complicated exercises, and he's showing this guy how to do it. So I kind of have this nickname for him in my head. Whenever I see him, I go, oh, there's shredded wheat. I call him shredded wheat. Because it wasn't 3 weeks later I saw him, and honestly, I'm telling you, I know for a fact he gained at least 10 pounds of body fat from the time he had that conversation with the guy. It's a yo-yo thing. It's a yo-yo thing. And he was still doing the exercises. But what I know he wasn't doing was the rest of the equation. That was the calories in, because you cannot burn enough calories to make up for calories in. It's that simple. Well, I was in the gym yesterday working out, and there's this guy working out with a trainer. And this guy, I mean, I'm looking at him. He's shorter than me. I mean, I'm about 6'3", 6'4", and he's probably, if I had to guess, about 5'6", okay? So he's not very tall. And he looks to be about 40 years old, and he's probably, if I had to guess, over ideal weight, not being ripped, not being shredded, just being at a healthy weight, because he had the belly. Now, he had a little bit of some muscle, too. I mean, the guy obviously worked out, but he had the whole puff thing going on, you know what I mean? By the way, I'm teaching you some gym terms. What we used to call that was ration back in the day. What's funny is if you ever watch me in the gym, my wife always cracks up because I never walk around like that. I'm just relaxed. I'm just chill. That's who I am. But you see guys that walk around the gym and are like this, and they're all puffed up. And we used to call it ration because it looked like they had a rash under their underarms and they were trying to air it out. And so anyway, so this guy's got a little bit of a rash going on. And he feels like he's a pretty stout guy, and he's very stout, to be honest with you. He needs to lose. If I had to guess, I would say even at his height, he is at least 40 pounds overweight, over healthy weight, just healthy. Looks very unhealthy from carrying too much body fat. I had to guess, somewhere around a 46-inch waist. Okay, mine's a 31. Give you an idea, and I'm almost a foot taller than him. So, but to get him down to a 36 or 38, you have to lose that much. So the guy's got him over there. The trainer's got him over there, and he's doing squats. Okay, full squats. I think he had a belt, but no knee wraps or anything like that. It's not a ton of weight for young guys, but it's a lot of weight. He had about 250 pounds on the squats, but the thing was from there, he jumped, racked the squats, went over, grabbed two 25-pound Olympic plates and started doing walking lunges across the gym, set those down after he came back and started doing leaps, dropping down to the ground, jumping up and leap as high as he can, over and over, and all those right in a row, all three in a row, a big giant set, and then doing that over and over again. I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness, this guy's going to have a heart attack. He's going to die. He's going to blow his knees out. He's going to blow his back out. He's going to blow his shoulders out and everything else. But I'm looking at it and going, that's great if a guy is into, competing with CrossFit and different things like that. They're at that intense level. But my guess is this guy's been told if he works out like that, he'll burn fat. And that fat that's on his body is going to come off. And here's what I'll tell you. He's not in the shape he's in right now because he ever did that before. Nor do I think he'll ever continue doing it. He'll probably work with that trainer and do that for a couple, 3 months. He might see little results, lose a couple pounds, but then he'll balloon back up again. He'll end up maybe injuring himself or something else and never get the results. Listen, it's not about intensity, guys, and that's what people have to get over. Go to slide number 10. Get past the yo-yo workout. The secret exercise on slide number 10 is the exercise you'll do consistently. That's it. You've got to think long-term. You've got to think consistency. We live in such an all-or-nothing world today. That's why people are in the financial duress they're in, because they're thinking their ship will come in one day financially instead of consistently managing their finances, putting away, planning and preparing for the future, and et cetera. And that's why most people are retiring, not able to retire because they're broke and they have nothing put away because they live with this all or nothing mentality that flows through in every area of our life as a result. So people are that way physically. So they'll go in, they do all this big stuff, but then they stop and they quit. And that's so important that the number one thing, and that's what I want you to learn, is I'm trying to teach you guys consistency and how important consistency really is. And that is the secret exercise. The secret exercise is the one that you're going to do consistently. Go to slide 11. That's what it talks about. Consistency. I make it happen day in and day out. You might know my good friend Success. We're always hanging out. That is the name of consistency, and that's what it will do for your life. Listen, consistency is so much more important than intensity. That's why when you go to the gyms at the beginning of the year, they're packed, and you can't get a parking spot, and you can't get a treadmill. But it amazes me how many people will fight to get the parking spot up front to get into the gym so they can go get on the treadmill, right? And they'll circle for half an hour to get the good parking spot rather than go ahead and do your treadmill on the way into the gym. How about that for an idea? But then by February, it's empty. The gym's completely empty because there's no consistency. Here's what you've got to stop. And I implore you, I'm begging you to get rid of this mentality where in 90 days or less, you're trying to fix something that's come from years of neglect. Years of neglect. This is what I would teach people when I'm training them. I said, listen, first thing we're doing is I said, this train car is running downhill and it's running fast. And what you're asking me is to jerk it back uphill. First thing we got to do is we got to stop it from going downhill. We got to stop the downhill degression, regression, going down. We've got to bring it to a stop first. Then let's start moving it back up slowly and pick up momentum as we go. But the problem is everybody wants to fix it now. Oh, I'm going on vacation in 30 days. I got to look better in my bikini. Well, not me. I don't wear a bikini. Well, I've worn a mankini a couple times, but only when I'm in Europe or in Florida. It's okay there. Never in Texas. Do it in Texas, you'll get laughed out. Sorry. So anyway, consistency is so important. You can't fix neglect, years and years and a lifetime of neglect in days and months. It's not going to happen. So we've got to think differently. And that's why you go to slide number 12. This is how I want to teach all of you to think. Less is more. Less is more. If you've not been working out, you've got to take a less is more mentality. You've got to think that way. You've got to have that kind of approach because you've got to start with less. And don't focus on extreme efforts, but rather focus on consistent efforts. And let your consistency be your mark of success. I talked about this last time. Listen, your mark of success is not your weight loss. It's not your abs or anything else like that. And I'm not talking about vanity here, guys. Let's get over the whole vanity part for a minute. Can we do this? Because if you've not been exercising, you've not been working out, this is about life. This is about health. This is about quality of life. This is about longevity, okay? And you've been given one body. You got this one body. You got one shot at this. And it's not going to happen because you do some big burst and stop and big burst and stop. It's the most damaging thing you can do to your body, and it's the most damaging thing you can do to your own psyche as well, too. And eventually you'll lose motivation or inspiration to work out, and you'll never do it again. What the number one thing you have to overcome first is your mindset, your thought process about exercise, and then the way you schedule your day, because if it becomes important, it becomes something that seems doable, it becomes important in your day. You start doing it consistently. And then once you start doing it consistently, you can start doing some increases. You can start doing a little bit more. But the problem is when you jump in and do a ton and you think, well, I can always cut back, people never cut back. They cut it off. They never just slow down their working out. They stop completely. That's why you have to understand that less is more. When you're not exercising, whatever it is, or even if you're exercising now, and you want to up it less than you would want to and be consistent with it. Because a lot of people jump up this big, tremendous workout and then drop down and then jump up and then drop down. Got to stop that mentality. It's about consistency. Think long-term results. Don't think 90 days before and after pictures. Think consistently, and if you can do that, if you do it. Go to slide number 13. We'll talk about this, and this is what I want to get to when we're talking about exercise today. When we're talking about calories being burned, when you look at this picture, which one of these cars would you imagine burns more fuel? Obviously the race car. Driving both the same distance, the race car is going to burn more fuel. That's why people need to get past the thought process of burning calories doing cardio. Listen, you cannot do enough time on the treadmill, the elliptical machine, the stair climber, the rowing machine, the stationary bike, the whatever. You can't do enough time on any of those to offset a terrible diet. It isn't going to work. and you're never going to be able to burn enough calories. And the problem is doing cardio alone is that you're never increasing your muscle tone, your muscle mass, your engine never gets bigger. It'd be like saying, well, I can drive that little car further, but the fact is to drive that little car and burn the same amount of gas as that big car, I'm going to have to drive it probably 5 times as far. So do I really want to have to keep doing 5 times as much cardio, or would I rather take a little time out, beef up the engine so that I use more calories on a daily basis? That's why your muscle tone is so important. But with age, your muscle tone is called sarcopenia. Your muscle tone starts going down with age. You start losing muscle mass. It's a combination of hormonal differences in your body, and it's a combination of lack of activity and exercise, which the lack of activity and exercise and poor diet leads to hormonal problems. It's a vicious cycle that goes on and on and on and on until you start exercising and start watching your diet and taking care of yourself. It's going to get worse and worse with time. That's when your metabolism gets slower and slower. People always think your metabolism is like some wind-up thing on your back, like one of those wind-up dolls, and over time when you get older, it just gets slower and slower. That's not true. Your metabolism goes down because you lose muscle mass, you become less active, and your diet stinks. And we're talking about the diet on Tuesdays. If you haven't been in the other ones, get back and watch the one I talked about this Tuesday. I've got so much great feedback on it. So when we're doing your exercise, I want you guys to start thinking about getting a bigger engine too, okay? So we're going to think about getting some muscle tone and working out. And go to slide number 14. I always got to show this one to the women because I laugh about it because they always go, I don't want to do anything with weights or whatever because I'm going to get big muscles. Women, you're not going to get big muscles by accident. You don't just do a little bit of weights and wake up and they're bigger. And you might say, well, I tried once and I worked out with this trainer. Well, probably more than likely you got with a trainer, had you doing all kind of heavy weights and push and everything. But even with that, it's not bad. The problem is you didn't give it enough time and you didn't combine it with a good diet. That is, you increased your muscle, your lean muscle, you were keeping the fat on you, so you just felt bulkier. And that's understandable. Your shirts felt tighter in the sleeves and tighter in the legs. And you just felt like you were getting bigger instead of smaller, and you wanted to get smaller. But let's get past that mentality, women. Let's get past the smaller mentality, okay? It's not important to be smaller. What's important is to decrease your body fat. And your body fat's going to come down easier when you have increased muscle tone, and you're going to be able to keep it down easier when you have increased muscle tone. So that's important. So you got to understand that they work hand in glove. So don't get freaked out and don't be scared. Let's go to the next slide, slide number 15. And here's what I'm going to do. Last time we were together on exercise last Thursday, I challenged those of you that aren't exercising to start doing something. I'll be curious. Listen, if you're doing this, send me feedback. Friend me on Facebook, or at the end, it's got my email here, tad@tadbitmorefit.com. Email me, friend me on Facebook, whatever. Send me a message. Get a hold of me and let me know that you're doing this and the results you're doing. I've had a lot of people telling me that, and they're saying, man, for the first time in my life, I'm doing this. I'm excited about what the future holds and what I'm doing. One young girl sent me this whole thing. She'd been so depressed because it was all about vanity and everything else, and she wasn't able to do anything. And now for the first time, she realizes it wasn't that. She was encouraged. She's working out. She's exercising. She's making progress. So important. But I encourage you to start getting up 15 minutes early in the morning and just going out for a 15-minute brisk walk. That's what I challenge you to do. So if this is the first time watching it and you're not exercising, you didn't start doing that, you need to do that first before you do these things I'm about to talk about. Do that first and then come back and look at this in a week and do these. But right now, these are for the people that have been doing that, getting up early, doing your 15-minute brisk walk, okay? For those of you that maybe are watching this that are into exercise, been doing it, you are consistent, this might seem really basic to you. But listen, for those of you who don't, I'm going to show you some very basic things and I want you to start. And it's going to seem like, but that's so little, Ted. Is it going to make a difference? Yes. Because I'm going to set you up for success. I'm going to set you up to succeed. So that what's going to happen is mentally you're going to start feeling more tone, you're going to start feeling more fit, and you're going to stick with it for the first time in your life. And you're going to say, you know what, I really can do this. This is something I can do. I'm not a failure at this. I can stick with a program. And we're going to start with the little things. But these little things, if you'll stay with them, are going to make a big difference, and we're going to continue to progress it over time. Day one, now, you're going to get up 20 minutes early. Instead of 15 minutes early, you're going to get up 20 minutes early. Why? Because you're going to spend 5 minutes doing some basic exercises. Most of them probably won't even take you 5 minutes, but they'll give you time to get out the door, okay? Day one, push-ups. It's simple. Look at them right here in these push-ups. You can do them on your knees, and I recommend that for starting if you've not been doing it. If you're strong enough, you can do them on your toes. Do them on your toes, okay? Later on, I'll teach you more advanced ways to do it, but right now I just want you to do the basic push-ups. It's going to help tone your triceps, it's going to help tone your pecs, your delts, and it's going to help all your core stabilizing muscles, abs, back, everything else as well while you're doing it. How many sets are you going to do? 1. You can do 1 set of as many as you can do. If you're able to do it on your toes, do as many as you can on your toes and then drop to your knees and keep doing them. If you're doing them on your knees, just do as many as you can. One set, that's it. Get up and go take your walk. Is that doable? Is that doable? I think it is. I think you can stay with that. That's simple. Now you know what you're going, well, Ted, is that going to make a big difference? A lot bigger difference than what you've been doing, which is nothing. Okay? So what this is going to do is it's going to start a progression and start getting your muscles in shape. It's not going to get sore and injure you and everything else. So day one, you're just going to do a set of push-ups, okay? Let's go to day 2. Go to slide number 16. Now you're going to do what's called glute bridges. This is going to tone up the tushy. We can all use some of that, right? Guys, you too. Don't sit there and go, oh my God, I don't need a butt. Talk to your wife. She'll tell you different. I can tell you that. But it's not just going to work your rear end. It's also going to work your quads, your hamstrings as well too, and it's also going to help your core, your abs, and your lower back. So this is on the second day. You get up 20 minutes early. First 5 minutes, you're going to do glute bridges. You're going to do as many as you can, okay? Now I want you to notice that picture over to the right, the girl in the blue. Her arms are down straight and she's pressing. See how tight her triceps are? That's the muscles on the back of her arm, if you don't know what that is, and her shoulder muscles, okay? She's pushing when she's doing it. When you're doing your glute bridges, I don't want you just focusing on your legs. I want you to pretend as though you're pushing the ground away with your hands. Every time you bridge up, I want you to push down with your hands as hard as you can. Why? Because then you're going to be toning your triceps, your rear delts as well too, your lats. You're going to be toning all of those while you're toning your rear end and your quads and your core too. Now, you get more advanced, you see the lady over to the left in the white, you can start doing marching while you're up, where you can lift one leg at a time, put it down, lift the other. Lift one, lift the other. Or you can do your bridges if you're feeling strong about it, just do it with one leg and keep that other one up the whole time and come up and down with one up, do as many as you can, switch and do the other leg. Remember, push against the ground with those hands as tight as you can and do as many as you can. I promise you, you ain't going to do it for more than 5 minutes. You're going to get up, you're going to go out for your 15-minute walk. It's that simple. Go to slide number 17. Day 3, planks. You can get up on your elbows just like this. You're on your toes. Now, when you're doing this, you're not just up there. See how straight her body is? You're tightening your butt as tight as you can. You're tightening your thighs as tight as you can. You're tightening your stomach, your abs as tight as you can. You're tightening your upper back as tight as you can, your arms and everything. And you're holding your body like a board, like a plank. That's what that word is, like a plank of wood, holding yourself as stiff as you possibly can that entire time, breathing while you're doing it. Have the news on. Have some music on while you're doing these things in the morning. Don't just sit there and do it in the quiet room. Make it entertaining. Make it fun while you're doing it. Make it something that's interesting while you're doing it. Hold that plank as long as you can. Once you get it and you're doing it good, you want to be a little more advanced. You see the picture down below. You can alternate, do a leg raise. Lift one up, hold it, bring it down. Lift the other one up, hold it, bring it down. You can alternate legs. That's a little more advanced version. Do as many planks as you can in one set. Get up, go do your walk. You're on your way. Go to the next slide, slide number 18. Step-ups. Now you can do these just on a step. You don't need a step like this. Just go onto a stair outside your house. And I recommend start with only one step, okay? Particularly if you got bad knees. Very careful, very important to make sure of this, that you don't let your knee go out in front of your foot. Stay back further. Even in picture A, her back leg could be back further if you have a bad knee, because that way you're going to engage more of the hamstring and the glute and not put so much pressure forward onto the knee. But you're just going to simply raise up and come down. Now you don't need to do the leg raise like here, her to start there. Just raise up and come down. But as you get more advanced and you want to do that, you can do to where you do that leg raise. You lift it up and bring it down. It's going to cause a little more balance you're going to have to do, which is going to engage your core and the rest of your body as well too. It's going to start working more of the abdominals and the hip flexors when you're stepping up and doing that. Do one set of step-ups on each leg, as many as you can do. Do one leg, as many as you can do on that one leg. Take a little short 15-second break. Go over to the other leg. Do as many as you can on that leg. Now go out and do your walk. It's that simple. That's day 4. Now all you're going to do is you're going to continue to rotate those. Once you get to day 4, you can go back to day 1. And you're going to do those 4 exercises 4 days in a row. I want you to do them 6 days a week. Take 1 day a week off. You can make it Sunday if you want, whatever day you want it to be. Take 1 day a week off, okay? Why? Because I want you to be consistent. It's not that much. It's 20 minutes. You can commit to do that and do that consistently. Go to slide number 19. We're going to add one thing to your walk, and that is I want you to add some weight to your walk. Now, I don't mean W-A-I-T, like weight on it. I'm talking about some hand weights. I don't want you to get more than 3 pounds. I learned a lesson from this when I was 16 years old and I first started working out, and I saw people doing it. I go, well, I'm going to do that. And so I was working out at home. I had my Montgomery Ward's plastic concrete-filled weights. Remember those? And I loaded up, I don't know how much it was. It was something stupid. I think I had about 30 pounds or 40 pounds in each hand because I'm thinking, I can do this. When I started jogging and walking, and I got about 2 blocks and my shoulders were cramping up, my wrists were hurting, my elbows were hurting, everything else. It's not about that, okay? Because you're going for your walk for 15 minutes. It's about giving a little more resistance so you can engage the upper body. So anywhere between 1 to 3 pound weights, bring them with you. If you're a guy and you're a little stronger than that and you're a 250 plus guy, you can probably take a 5 pound weight. That's okay. But don't take anything more than that. You don't need any more than that. But when you're walking, I want you to add a few exercises while you're going. That girl in the top left in the burgundy top, she's doing curls. So when you're going, you're just curling up and curling down. What I don't want you doing is what you see so many people when they're doing it. That is their arms stay fixed and they're just swinging them. They're doing this. I don't want you to do that because you're not getting good muscle action. All you're doing is stressing out your shoulders and your neck. So when you're doing it like that girl there, each time that one arm's coming all the way down straight and all the way back up. The other one then when it comes back down, the other one comes up. And you're just alternating them while you're walking, bringing them all the way down straight. Now you're getting nice muscle action. Do those for a little while. Then do those side raises like the girl in the light blue top. You start raising those arms up to the side for a little while. Don't tighten up the neck. Just raise them up. This is all while you're walking. Then do them overhead. Alternate them while you're walking like the girl in the pink, and you're pushing overhead while you're walking. Just very, very lightweight. Not a lot of resistance. You're going to notice it's going to amount to a lot of pounds. A 2 or 3 pound weight is going to feel like about 15, 20 pounds pretty quick. Doesn't take a lot. I want you to add that to your 15-minute walk. That's it. I want you to practice consistency. I want you to do that consistently. Tune back in next Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to talk Tuesday more about diet. Thursday, I'm going to give you some more advanced exercises to do. So keep following this program and doing it. Is that something you think you can do? I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Okay? So now let me just, for the last couple minutes, I'm going to make this brief. I want to address some of you that are here that are a little bit more advanced trainers. People who are already exercising consistently. This is something you've been doing. And this is also for those of you that are beginners. It's a little more advanced education for you. Okay? A little bit advanced. Go to slide number 20. And I want to talk about this. Continual results require continual change. Variety is not just the spice of life, it's the secret of success. What do I mean by that? Your body is very efficient, very effective. I told you about why your fat cells are the metabolic junk drawers, right? Because anything your body can't use in calories, it stores it. Why? Because your body is preservation minded. So your body, it thinks, it doesn't know there's a McDonald's on every corner, okay? So it thinks, man, you might not hunt any more wild buffalo for another 6 months. The crops are going to die for the winter. We're going to store some fat. That's what your body thinks. That's how it was designed, was to be able to survive, okay? And there's a lot of people in parts of the world that still have to live that way. So even though in America we live in this society we're in, the human body is still having to use that function to actually thrive and survive in many cultures today. So that's what your body's doing. Why? Because your body is survival oriented. Well, when you're survival oriented, when your body is designed the way it is, it also thinks efficiency and effectiveness, okay? That's why whenever you go to do something, your body will engage as many muscles as it can to do the work. Why? Because it wants to make it as easy as it can so that it expends as little energy as possible so that it can conserve energy. Again, your body thinks that way. We don't like it. I mean, we wish we could rewire our DNA and make our body think, no, use more calories, not less. It's just the way it is. That's the fact. So as a result, what will happen is if you keep doing the same things all the time for a prolonged period of time, that's why I'm going to continually give those of you that are doing this new exercises to do so you can switch it up all the time. Your body will get more and more effective at doing those exercises, and you'll start burning less and less calories when you're doing it, but also you'll decrease, you won't increase muscle tone as much anymore. You'll do what's called plateau, and you'll stop. So those of you that are more advanced trainers here that are watching this, and if you've plateaued and you say, I'm just not getting results in this area, it's time to get some new exercises. It's time to get some new things to do that you've not been doing. It's time to switch it up. When I was competing in bodybuilding, and again, nothing came easy to me. I had to work 3 times as hard as all of these guys that were gifted. I just had to. I had to diet 3 times harder. It just didn't come easy to me. I had to work harder than them. One of the ways I gained the muscle I did, I was never that strong. I couldn't lift a lot of weight. What I did was continually train my muscles differently. Change it up all the time, so I always got results. I kept doing it because I never did the same exercise twice in a row. Every time I came to the gym, I completely changed up. Now, I couldn't lift as much weights as most of the guys in the gym, a lot of the other guys in the gym, but I was a lot more muscular than them because I wasn't focused on pounds. You know how guys are. Guys are always like, whenever guys see me and they can tell I work out, the first thing they always say, it's hilarious. Actually, a good friend of mine who's a phenomenal comedian, Tim Wilkins. Tim Watnam's another friend of mine, but Tim Wilkins. Tim Wilkins is a comedian, a fitness comedian of all things too. And so Tim Wilkins and I used to have this joke. We worked out together because all the guys would always say this, and they'd walk up to you and they'd go, "Hey, will you bench? Will you bench?" And all you guys that are watching this know what I'm talking about because you've asked people that. You've asked them what they bench because somehow in a man's mind, that is the mark of a man, how much he can bench. What I'll tell you is even at my biggest, my bench was never impressive. You know why? Because I didn't focus on how much I could bench because I would see a lot of guys that could bench a lot and you would look at them and you would never know they worked out a day of their life. So that wasn't important to me. I wanted muscle so that my body could be more effective. So I continually change it up. I consistently change things all the time. So anyway, so continual change is important. You know, Tony Horton from P90X has made his millions by teaching muscle confusion. And what he says is true. It is absolutely true what he says about muscle confusion. But what's funny is that came out, in the early 2000s. I was learning this from a man named Coach Hammer. By the way, if you're in St. Louis, Hammer Bodies, check him out, Coach Hammer. The guy's brilliant, man, way before his times. Was teaching me that back in the early 80s. 1981, 82, Coach Hammer was teaching me muscle confusion long before Tony Horton made his money off it. And he taught me that when I first started bodybuilding, and I lived by that my entire life. And now it's not even about bodybuilding. It's just about living life and keeping my body built, fighting gravity. And because of that, I continually do things different to keep my body working, keep my body progressing so it doesn't get used to something. So if you're plateaued in your workouts and what you're doing, what you need to do is change it up. Those of you that are doing what I taught you, that's why you need to keep coming back so you can learn new exercises, or a lot of other places you can learn new exercises, online, TV shows, etc. Just remember, please, 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 don't think intensity. Don't think faster results. Your mark of success right now is being consistent in exercising and never deviating and stopping, being consistent in your eating habits, counting your calories in. Watch those if you haven't seen them yet because that's absolutely, absolutely so important. So one last thing for those of you that are advanced trainers, go to 21, you'll learn this, and that is that success begins at failure. Success begins at failure. So if you're someone who's working out intense and everything else and you want better results, back when I was into building, I don't do this now because again, my goal right now at 50 is I tell everybody I'd like to look the way now I think I could realistically look at 65, 70, 75. So why work towards something I can't keep then? So I'm continually trying to keep myself in this range. But when I was pushing and trying to gain more muscle, and if that's what your goal of what you're doing, you have to realize you got to push back. Because again, just like I said on that last slide, your body is very efficient and very effective. And your body is always becoming more effective and efficient at what you're doing. So therefore, if it doesn't have a reason to gain more muscle, it's not. Why? Muscle is a liability. It's an energy liability. So it'd be like somebody who wants to save money on gas going and getting a big V8 car when they could have a 4-cylinder. Your body's going to fight to have a 4-cylinder. You got to fight to have an 8-cylinder. That's that simple. And the way that happens at that point when you're a more advanced trainer and you're really wanting to gain some muscle mass now, I'm not just talking about tone. This is not for everybody else we've been talking about that are beginners, but those advanced people, you have to realize that when you hit failure, this is what I was told everybody when I would train them that was a more advanced trainer. When they hit failure, that was rep number 1. That's when I started counting. And you need a training partner, a spotter, to help you from there, only as much as you need to complete it, to do about 3 extra reps more than you're really capable of doing. There's that little boost. Why? Because you're telling your muscles when you do that, you don't have enough strength. You don't have enough muscle. So it begins to tear down muscle tissue, put little micro tears, and then if you have the right foods, we'll talk more about that in the future, right foods and rest right, what will happen is we'll rebuild stronger because your body say, man, we got to max the load. We got to do this. That's why when people who take a job that requires, say, walking upstairs a lot or something else, something physical, man, the first day they're so sore and they can barely move. And all of a sudden after a while, they're not sore anymore and it's a little hard. And after a while, they're doing it so effectively and efficiently. And at first they lost 10 pounds when they started that job. Now later, they're 10 pounds heavier than they were when they started the job. Because the body gets used to things very quickly. That's why we got to change it up all the time. That's why I'm going to help you change it up. Not big, not drastic, not dramatic, just the little things. You want severely more results in your advanced trainer, 3 more reps, that's a little thing. That's a little thing. But you'll learn it's the little things that you do in life that make an absolutely big difference. Well, next week, click on that one more time. Let's go to 22. 22 is what I just talked about. And let me talk about this in 22. I want to close out. Because I really do want to encourage you guys. Listen, some of you have struggled with feelings of failure, and you've had a hard time staying with something consistently. That's why I'm teaching you what I'm teaching you. I do want to say this. You absolutely can do this. You absolutely can. I just implore you, I beg you to get out of the mindset of changing everything immediately. This is what I started with. I'm going to come back to this for the finish. Stop thinking about 90 days undoing 9 years of neglect, okay? Let's make our goal to be 90 days from now to still be doing what you're doing now and actually maybe stepped it up a little bit. And don't even care about the scale. Don't even care what the mirror says or anything else. Let your goal be the fact that you're consistently taking care of yourself. Listen, you got one shot at this life. You got to take care of your joints. All these insane, crazy workouts and beating yourself up and everything else too, you're going to hurt something, you're going to injure something, and you're not going to see the results you want. You're going to end up right back where you are. Let's be consistent. You can do this. I promise you can. But start with those little things. We're talking 20 minutes right now in the morning. Get up 20 minutes early. Your day's going to be more productive. You're going to feel great. And you know what? You set yourself up for success at business, in your relationships, and everything else because you started off your day doing something that you've not been successful doing up till now. Now's your time to be a success, and I know you can do it, and I believe in you. Go to slide 23. Tuesday, I'll be, I got 2 more Tuesdays and Thursdays for the month of October. I committed for the month of October. I was doing 2 a week for these 3 weeks in here, so 6 in a row. And so Tuesday and Thursday next week, I'll be doing it. And then after that, we're going to be going to a twice-a-month format on these webinars and continue to bring you more and more information to educate you on this and help you make progress as you go. But on Tuesday, I'm going to talk about the happy diet. The happy diet. Don't you want to be on a happy diet? Because most diets make people really mean and really grumpy. So I'm going to talk about the happy diet. I'm going to talk about how you can get less calories in and like it and enjoy it and not have to eat a bunch of crap you don't like. I'm going to talk about how to be able to do that and feel satiated, feel happy with it, and not be starving all the time. So important. Listen, give me some feedback. Send me an email at tad@atadbitmorefit.com. Or if you want some help with your workouts, I help people on Skype. I write up programs, I write up diets, whatever else. If you just got a question about the webinar or something simple, I'd be glad to answer it for you. Or if some of those exercises you say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm kind of wondering what should I do with that, send me an email. I'd be glad to answer them for you. I want to help you out. This is my gift to you. I appreciate you taking time to tune into this. Whoever told you about it, thank them for it. Keep coming back. If you haven't seen the other webinars, click on that icon up on top. Watch them, get caught up. Thanks for being with me. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday with the Happy Diet. God bless you. Have a great day.